What if I told you the difference between a $2,000 a month and a $6,000 a month is not how many runs you take, it's one document. The courier who has a contract owns the relationship. The courier who doesn't, well, you're just working under someone else's terms. And I see it over and over again. Drivers doing phenomenal work, building real relationships with labs and hospitals and pharmacies. And then one day, the client just doesn't call back. No explanations, no recourse, because there was never nothing on paper. And that's not going to be you. Peace, everyone. Welcome back to Giganomics. Today, we're building your contract from scratch. The language, the pricing, and the protection. Let's jump into it. All right, so before I break down what goes in a contract, I need you to understand why this matters, because a lot of carriers out here, they think a contract is just a formality, something big companies do, and not nothing for the little guys. And that's completely backwards and ludicrous. And here's the truth. When you walk into a lab or a pharmacy or a hospital without a service agreement, you're just a vendor. When you walk in with a contract, you're a business. That's it. That's the entire difference. A contract tells your client three things. Number one, I take this seriously. Number two, I've done this before. And number three, I know my value and I'm not negotiating it away. And here's what most people don't realize. Clients want you to have a contract. Think about it from their side. They're a medical facility. They got compliance requirements. They got procurement processing. And when you show up with a clean service agreement, it makes their job easier. You're not just a driver they calling off a Craigslist. You're a vendor they could put on file. And that changes the entire dynamic. Now, the second reason you need a contract, and this one protects your money, is scope creep. Scope creep, that happens when a client starts adding things to your workload that wasn't in the original agreement. Can you add these 2 extra stops? Can you come in on a Saturday? Can you pick up some supplies on your way back? Each one of those sounds small, but 6 months in, you're doing 40% more work for the same rate that you agreed to on day one. Your contract fixes that. Every time they ask for something outside the scope, you have a conversation, and in that conversation, you get paid. All right, so let's build it. And you don't need a lawyer to write a basic service agreement. I'm gonna give you 7 clauses, and these are non-negotiable. Every contract you write should have these 7 things. Clause 1 is the parties. Who is this contract between? You use your business name, not your personal name. Use your LLC or your DBA, and you're gonna use their business name. Use full legal names, addresses, and contacts. This is referred to as the who. So for an example, this service agreement is entered as, enter the date, by and between your business name, an independent carrier service, and the client name, located at the client address. It's simple, it's clean, and it's professional. Clause 2 is the scope of service, and this is the most important clause in the document. This defines exactly what you're doing and what you're not doing, so this is critical. It also describes your route, it describes the type of deliveries, and it describes the frequency. Example language. Service provider agrees to provide scheduled specimen transport services from the designated collection site to the processing facility, Monday through Friday. Morning routes depart in between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. Service does not include after-hour pickups, weekend runs, or supply restocking unless separately agreed in writing. See what I did there? I defined the edges, so anything outside those edges, it's a new conversation. Clause 3 is compensation. So this is your rate, your payment schedule, how you invoice, and when you get paid. Example language. Client agrees to pay the service provider a flat route rate of, enter the amount per scheduled service day. Payment is due within net 7, net 15, or net 30 days of the invoice. Late payments are subject to a 1.5% monthly late fee. And don't skip the late fee clause. Don't think, oh, they won't be late. Write it in anyway. It changes the behavior. It makes a person think twice before playing with your money. Clause 4 is term and termination. How long does this agreement last, and how does either party get out of it? Example, this agreement, it shall commence on into the start date and continue for a period of either 3 months, 6 months, or a year, automatically renewing unless either party provides a 30-day written notice of termination. Either party may terminate this agreement with the 30-day written notice without cause. That 30-day written notice, that protects you. It means they just can't stop calling you on a Tuesday and leave you without zero income. You got a long runway here. Clause 5 is independent contractor status. This protects you legally and it protects them legally. You're not their employee. You set your own hours, you use your own vehicle, and you pay your own taxes. Example, service provider is an independent contractor and not an employee of the client. Service provider is responsible for all taxes, insurance, and business expenses incurred in the performance of service under this agreement. And this is non-negotiable. Every contract, every time, you want to include this. Clause 6 is confidentiality and HIPAA acknowledgement. If you're doing medical deliveries, you're exposed to patient information, chain of custody records, lab results, and records as well. So you need a line that acknowledges you understand compliance obligations. Example, service provider acknowledges awareness of patient privacy regulations, including HIPAA, and agrees to handle all materials in compliance with applicable laws. Service provider will not discuss any patient information encountered during the service performance. In this clause, it tells your clients, especially in healthcare, that you're not a liability, but you're actually a professional. Clause 7 is liability and insurance. What happens if something goes wrong? A specimen get damaged in transit, an accident on the way to the lab, who's responsible for what? Example, service provider maintains general liability insurance of no less than into the amount and agrees to provide proof of insurance upon request. Service provider is not liable for specimen integrity issues arising from improper packaging by the client. That last statement is key. If they hand you a properly packaged sample and it get compromised, that's not your fault. It says it in writing. Now I know what some of y'all thinking. This sounds like a lot. I don't know how to put this together in a real document form. So hear me out. Your first option is Google Docs. Go to Google Docs, type service agreement template in the template gallery, and you start there. Drop in the 7 clauses, boom, you got your contract. The second option, HelloSign, DocuSign, or my personal favorite, Jotform. These are e-signature platforms. Most of them have free tiers. You build a contract in the platform, you send it to the client digitally, they sign it from their phone, it's professional, timestamped, and legally valid in most states, and this is what I currently use. The third option, if you're doing volume or signing hospital level contracts with multiple facilities, spend $200 to $300 and have a local business attorney review your template. A one-time fee, and you use that template forever. The move is start with either option 1 or 2, get your first contract signed, then upgrade your template as you grow. All right, so let's bring this all together. And what we just did right now, we didn't just talk about contracts, we actually built one. We went from understanding why you need it to breaking down the exact clauses to giving you real language you can actually use. And this is the shift I need you to understand. You're not just someone picking up and dropping those packages anymore. You're a structured business, you protecting your time, and most importantly, you protecting your money. Because without a contract, you hoping the client keeps calling. With a contract, you're locking in a relationship. And that's the difference between random income and predictable income. And everything we just covered, this is your foundation. This is what gets you in the door as a professional. But here's the truth. Having a contract is one thing. Knowing how to price it, knowing how to present it, and knowing how to protect yourself when they hand you their terms, that's a whole different level. Because a lot of people, they mess up right there. They either undercharge themselves, they get nervous during the conversation, or they sign something that looks official, but is actually working against them. So in part 2, we're going even deeper. I'm breaking down 4 critical things. Number 1 is how to set your rate and not second guess yourself. 2, the exact conversation you should be having when you present your contract. 3, the red flags you need to catch before you sign anything. And 4, how to position yourself so you're not asking for work, you're just offering a solution. And this is where you go from having a contract to actually getting paid what you're worth. So if you're serious about turning this into real income, I'll see you in part 2. You found any value in this video? Hit the like, hit the share, leave a comment. And until next time, y'all stay safe, stay blessed, get to your hustle. Peace.